writing and photography. Before we start, let us recite Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. May Allah bless and smooth our forums tonight. Dear all, thank you for attending this forum and we warmly welcome your presence today. I am Hayatul Hafiza, your moderator for tonight's forum. To the wonderful audiences, don't forget to share this forum with all of your friends too. So we are hoping that this program will also benefit you and you will gain some lessons from it. For your information, this forum is one of the series of programs under Islamic Career Festival organized by CCSC and IIUM Student Union with the involvement of various student societies. The main objectives of iCareer Festival are to create awareness of the issues of careers and to provide students with information on how they can pursue those careers. Thus, we come into the objectives of tonight's forum, which are to have an enjoyable discussion about critical dilemmas, which usually faced by graduating students, to share on how they survive the dilemmas and continue to work in their field and achieve their dream, and lastly, to inspire students, especially in using writing and photography platform to spread the da'wah towards the society. Brother and sister, before we start, let me introduce our respected panels for tonight's forum. The first panelist is Brother Muhammad Hakimi bin Mustafa. He was a student in education courses, which he majored in TOEFL and minored in ISAC. He is currently a freelance photographer and an alumni in 2020. Welcome, Brother Hakimi, into our forum.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. For our second panelist, we have Madam Norhafsah. A little bit of info into her educational background. She obtained her civil law degree or LLB honors from Reading University, United Kingdom in 1996, then continuing her diploma in Sharia legal practice or DSLP in 2006 in IIUM Gombak. She was an advocate and solicitor for 12 years, specializing in litigation matters and currently serving as a Sharia lawyer and a book author. She also runs a charity organization and currently pursues her passion in writing. Among her popular books are Letter to Gods, Rough Diamond, Divine Blessings, Back to Basic, and many more. Welcome, Madam Hafsah, into our forum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Madam Hafsah. I feel very honored to have all of our experienced panelists grace us with their knowledge and experiences tonight. Before kicking things off, I will explain the rules which will guide tonight's forum. Inshallah, we will have 5 prompts before Q&A session. I will start by asking a question to a panelist. Then the panelists will have around 5 to 10 minutes to give us their answers and opinion. I hope all of the panelists understand the rules for this forum, and I humbly seek the audiences to listen carefully to the knowledge that they will impart, and feel free to ask questions during the Q&A session later. Now, without further ado, we will move on to the first question. I hope our panelists are ready.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, thank you. So let's start. Let's start with the first question. The first question is for both panelists. So the question is, would you share with us how did you get involved in photography or writing in the first place? Was there any push factors? Maybe we could hear from Brother Hakimi first, then we move to Madam Hafsah. Please, Brother Hakimi.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the organizer for inviting me for this program. Moderator Hayatul and respected Madam Hafsah, our speaker. Such an honor for me to be one of the speaker in this event. Okay, about the question, how I start my photography, right? How I start my photography and what is the big factor? Actually, for me, it start with hobby. If we still remember during the early of Instagram establishment, I still remember during that time I love to take photos and upload it on my Instagram, only using my mobile phone lah, kan. But then on 2014, my brother, he has the DSLR, but he didn't use it. Then I decide maybe I can buy from him lah kan. Then during that time I didn't have enough money, and I'm only pay for him for half of the price. So the other half, he said to me, he asked me to learn in photography, and he asked me also to shoot during his wedding sebagai ganti lah kan. So I think it was the starting point for me when I start with photography. There is another moment. My cousin, she saw my artwork in my Instagram, and then she it's not push factor lah. It was my starting point how I start my photography as a freelance. My cousin asked me to shoot for her wedding. At the beginning, she offered me for 500 ringgit, including the album and so on. And then after the event, she add another 200, so I got 700 during that time. During that time, I was on my first year degree. So as a student, for me, it is a big amount of money lah. So starting from that, I start to think that maybe by photography actually can help me to earn some money, at least for my study and my saving. So I think it was my starting point lah. After that, I tried to develop my skill, try to join classes and so on. So until now, I still doing my photography. I think that's all for the first question.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Hakimi. So it starts with the hobby on uploading the pictures to Instagram. And I could say your push factor is your brother.
Yeah, starting from my brother and because of my cousin.
Because of your cousin,
Yes.
And also for saving, because
Yes,
you are in your first year.
Yes,
right?
for saving, yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. It was very fascinating. A fascinating answer, Brother Hakimi. Thank you. So how about you, Madam Hafsah? How did you get involved in writing in the first place? Was there any push factors?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. For me, it was quite accidental, actually. It was never planned because I was working as an advocate and solicitor, so I was very busy. Every day I was handling cases in court. So writing was the last thing on the list that I would do, except if I'm writing legal submission to court. But I like to read. I love reading. And I think for those who actually practice law would know that most of our time is spent waiting for our cases to be called. So hence we had time in between cases. That's when we actually read. It all started when I write notes sometimes. Whenever I feel that I need to express something, I would sometimes write them down and I would compile it in a notebook. It's just an expression, rather than saying things out, I would write them down. So what happened was I came back from Hajj in 2010. And I wanted to document my experience, and I wanted to share with my friends and wanted them to encourage them to actually perform Hajj at a young age. So I wrote a note to them. And from there, one of my friends said, Hafsah, why don't you write a book? Because the thing is, my journey in Islam has not always been easy because I wasn't really a practicing Muslim. So I had to relearn and rediscover Islam again, and I had to learn from scratch. And it wasn't an easy journey for me. So my friends who have been with me would know that the hardship that I went through in trying to relearn Islam. So they suggested that I put everything, including my heart journey, into a book. And because she said that it might help others who are like me, you know, perhaps who's a bit too shy to ask, or who feels that, you know, they don't have the right to ask, is that especially when you're at a certain age, and if you're a born Muslim, people will expect you to know everything. But if you don't, that would be kind of shameful, and people tend to judge. And because I always ask questions, and I don't care what people think of me as long as I get to the bottom of it and I need the answer. So that's why she suggested that I write a book. So I started writing. That was my first book, which is Trying to Be Muslim. And at that point of time, I decided that, okay, I'm just going to write this and I'm just going to submit it to a publisher. And if God will, it will be published, which means that it's meant to be. But if it's not, then that's it. At least I've tried, you know, at least I've given it a chance and tried. So to make story short, Alhamdulillah, my book was published, and then the rest was history. I mean, I intended to only write one book, but after the first book came out, my publisher came back to me and said that you got to write a second book because they wanted to know more. So, but it took me 2 years before I wrote the second book. Even after the second book, I thought that's it. Okay, I'm done. You know, I did what I could. I'm done. If I die now, at least I can tell Allah, I've done it. You know, inshallah. But I guess God has better plans for me. So till now, I'm still writing. Until when? I don't know. Inshallah, I don't know. Make dua for me. So it's quite accidental.
All right, thank you, Madam Hafsah. I think it was a very enlightening answer to spread the beauty of Islam, including the Hajj journey, your Hajj journey to writing. So it was very accidental, but you also love to read. Because me myself, as a law student, I am also a law student. Second year law student, and next semester, inshallah, my third year. Ooh. But I am not very passionate in reading. I read when I need to, and I read when I feel to. But I think I need to learn from Madam Hafsah and make it as a motivation for me. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsah. Okay, so I think let's move to the next question. In regards to the next question, I think most of the graduating students are facing many challenges when they graduated, right? So in regards to that, I have a question for Brother Hakimi. Based on your experiences, what are the challenges that are usually faced by students after they graduated? Maybe you could share yours.
Okay, thank you, Sister Hayatul, for the question. It's very good question. First of all, as you guys know, I'm graduate last year. Actually, from Kuliah of Education. And I'm studying in teaching Arabic as second language. So I'm really sorry if my English are not so good. I try to explain. All right. As you guys know, last year is a very tough year for all of us. We graduate and then we have to face with the pandemic and so on. So it's quite hard for us, the student that graduate last year, to secure a job. For example, my batch in education, we try to apply in school and so on, but unfortunately, we all know that school are not open last year, right? So it's very hard for us actually. Then for me, myself, after graduate, I think after graduate, I had tried a few kind of business. And for you guys, untuk pengetahuan anda semua, I have one shop in IIUM at Kuliah of Economy. If you guys know 3H Minimark, it was our shop, but it had to be closed because of this pandemic. So it is very hard for us after graduate. But then I start to realize that I have to do something if I want to get some income, because I already graduate but I don't have any job. So I start to think that maybe with my skill I can secure a job. And then I decide to apply to one of these NGO that I currently work, which is Cinta Gaza Malaysia, as a media creative. Although it is not, the position is not for my qualification, which is teacher, but I managed to secure the job. So for all the students, actually it is very hard, especially during this time, to secure a job. We will never know where we will be placed after we graduate. Maybe it will be different. The job will be different with what we studied during our apa during what we had studied lah during in the university. So yeah, my advice to all the students, if is we have to prepare maybe with a few skill, or during our study we should develop ourselves in order to make sure, or maybe we doesn't know, maybe this skill will help us in the future. So yeah, I think that is the answer for the second question.
If thank you, Baraki, but if I may know a little bit, like before you got involved in that NGO, like how did you, what are the challenges? I mean, what are the, how do you overcome those challenges before you starting as a freelance photographer?
Yeah, actually, before I graduate, I want to focus with my photography, because we all know every month there will be a wedding, right? Because I'm wedding photographer. But yeah, this pandemic is really hit us lah, because the industry, wedding industry is not open. I think it took me for 5 months lah to decide that I have to find another alternative lah. I also try to do some business, but it doesn't work well. And I think for graduate student, to, like I say lah, to secure a job is quite hard lah in this pandemic. Yes.
Yes.
Is it answer the question?
Yes, it answered the question. Like if I may know, if I may know a little bit more about Brother Hakimi, you study teaching English as a second language, right?
Teaching
so do you
Arabic.
Teach us about teaching teaching Arabic as a second language. So do you ever feel to be like Arabic teacher before you?
Yes, of course. To be a teacher is my main what call cita lah kan, cita untuk jadi seorang cikgu. My main ambition, yes. But yeah, is but I try to apply also in to be a teacher, such as I try to apply at swasta school and so on, but because the school is not open, so I cannot proceed. But maybe after this, inshallah lah, maybe next year the school will open and so on. Hopefully everything will be fine lah. So,
true, it was very hard to secure a job, especially during this pandemic, right?
yes.
So yeah, thank you very much, Brother Hakimi, for the interesting story and tips to develop ourselves and how to overcome ourselves, especially during this pandemic. Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi. So maybe we could listen opinion from Madam Hafsah regarding this question.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, my advice, I mean, taking from somebody who's really experienced and old, my advice would be is never to have expectations after you graduate. Always have in mind whatever you learn in university is knowledge. Full stop. Whether you make use of that knowledge or not is not up to you.
Yes.
It is Allah's plan. To give an example, when I graduated from LLB Honours in UK, I actually came back and I did my CLP, which is an equivalent to bar. But while doing that, I started working. I went straight into corporate and became a corporate person. But after I completed my CLP, I didn't started practicing law immediately. I went off to UK and I worked in the UK for about a year. And I worked as an import manager, which has nothing to do with law. And my job was just going through vouchers and invoices for cosmetics. You know, something that even I didn't use at that point of time. You know, but that was the risk. And at that point, I was already married. My husband was studying. So I did what I had to do. That was my risk, and I accepted. And after my husband completed studies, we came back. Then only after that, I started my legal practice. And from then on, I was actively practicing until after I came back from Hajj. Now, when I came back from Hajj, things changed. You know, my perspective changed and stuff like that. And I started my charity organization. And also that's when I started writing. And you can simply say that I retired from civil practice when I was at my peak. Which means that I was a partner at a firm. I was doing very well, alhamdulillah, income was good. But I took the decision to retire because one was I felt that I wanted to spend more time doing charity work, and two is because I feel that I wasn't spending enough time with God, you know, and my job was taking me away from God. And I find that no matter how much I made, it wasn't enough. You know, it just wasn't enough. You know, I suppose that's why they say kalau rezeki tak berkat, you know, doesn't matter. You can like earn 20,000, 30,000 a month, but it will never be enough. So I retired in 2012, and ever since then I've been, alhamdulillah, I still do Sharia, but as and when I please. So depending on the case, I make sure that it doesn't take my time away from what I'm supposed to do. But the thing is, like, whatever you do, whatever you set out to be, regardless, it must be with the right intention. Now, even with writing requires passion. I can tell you that. Without passion, you can't write. But in order to even do that, it must start with the correct intention. Even with photography, even to become a doctor, even to become a lawyer, it must be with the correct intention. Now, if you start work right after graduation with the sole purpose of making money, then I'm afraid that you might get disappointed. But if you make the intention and you make dua, you know, asking God to give you what is best for you, you may not get what you want, but He will give you what's best for you at that point of time. He might give you what you want later, inshallah, you don't know, wallahu alam. But you always have to believe that when you make dua and when He gives you something, it is the best for you at that point of time. So that's what I meant by don't have any expectation when you graduate. You're bound to actually, you know, have hardships. You're bound to have trials. You know, you're bound to have anything that comes in your way. But, you know, you just have to be patient, go through the process. Inshallah, you will get to where you're supposed to be, you know, at the end of the day. Now, then you have to have that faith. You have, and though I think that for some people, I mean, I know some of my friends who studied law with me, who did the bar, you know, who did pupillage, you know, and they ended up not practicing as lawyers. And you get this comments that, "Alah, ruginya, you know, belajar tinggi-tinggi, you studied all the way to, you know, to UK and you don't practice law," you know. something that we have to understand. Knowledge is never wasteful. Whatever knowledge that we learn, we might use it in other ways, might not be directly, but it could be
Yes.
other ways. For example, the Sharia knowledge that I learned, I might not be using it every single day in court, but it has actually strengthened my knowledge on Islam. Now that is, to me, it's something huge, something big, So do not underestimate what you have. Always be thankful. And whatever comes your way, if you make dua for it, whatever comes your way, you just have to have faith that it is the best for you. I agree with Brother Hakim. This is very difficult times. Now it's very, very difficult times, to get jobs. Even those who have jobs have lost their jobs. People are starving. They cannot make ends meet. But inshallah, always make dua and have faith that Allah will always guide us and Allah will always help us. Even if we have to go through hardship, He will hold our hands all the way till we get to the end of the line. So you have to have faith, inshallah.
Everything happened, there is a reason, right, Madam?
Yeah, correct. Nothing is coincidence. We may not understand it now, but we just have to accept, because the more we fight it, the more miserable we become. But as long as there's food on the table, there's roof on our head, at this point of time, we are actually very, very, very rich in that sense. Very fortunate, because there are people who are sleeping under bridge. There are people who've been thrown out of the house. So we must learn to take each blessing that we get, no matter how small, and be grateful for it, inshallah.
Inshallah, mashallah. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsa. It was a very interesting and enlightening answer. Never to have expectation, but treat what you learn as a knowledge. I think it was a very good quote from Madam Hafsa. And if I might say, your Hajj journey has a big factor on you, right, Madam Hafsa? Because if what I heard from you, like you still like bring what you have from your Hajj journey, and then it is open your eyes to write and then to share to others the beauty of Islam. If I might say, like your Hajj journey is a very big factor on you, right?
Yes, my Hajj actually it completely changed my life. That's when I started to actively change. I mean, I have been actually learning about Islam for a very, very long time, and many, many years, because you have to understand that during my time, we didn't have internet. So to learn about Islam is very difficult unless you learn from an ustad or ustazah. But if you come from a Western background, I like, for me, and I wasn't wearing hijab, I had free hair. It was very difficult because I think at that time the teachers were very judgmental and they didn't want to answer my question. So any question coming from a non-hijabi, they would treat it as an attack on Islam. Whereas I was just trying to get some answer so that it would make sense to me. But that's why it was very difficult. It took me many, many, many years until I actually found the correct teacher, and for me to learn Islam through the beauty of Islam, not about the sins or the fiery hell. It's always through the beauty of Islam which attracted me back to Islam. And it's always been my husband at that time who said, "Oh, come on, let's go and do Umrah." And it's been me at that time saying, "Oh, no, because I don't want to be struck by lightning the moment I step foot on holy land. I have this fear because of my sin." I think almost everybody has that fear. Banyak dosa kan, nanti kena pada peti. So I've always said, I don't want to go, I'm not ready. Until it was 2007 when we finally went. And that's because I had a dream that I was supposed to be there. So the next day when I woke up, I told my husband, "Okay, let's go." So we went for first Umrah, and it was one of the most beautiful experience I had. And from there, I decided that, okay, I'm going to do my Hajj. Come what may, I wanted to do my Hajj. Alhamdulillah, in 2010, we managed to do. And when we came back, that's when my husband and I, we started to change things. We changed our priorities in life. We changed the way we see things, you know. We, instead of chasing after dunya, we try to chase after akhirat and hope that dunya will come chasing after us. You know, there's a saying that, you know, you chase after akhirat and dunya will come chasing you. That's what we try to do ever since we came back from Hajj. It's slowly, it's a process, slowly, you know. So inshallah, we hope we get there somehow.
MashaAllah, very wonderful story, Madam Hafsah. I like the earlier term from Madam Hafsah regarding the intention, like niyyah. Yes, niyyah is the most important, so that whatever you do after that will follow your very first niyyah and intention. So if your niyyah is correct, then whatever you do will also be correct, inshallah. And always believe in Allah, because everything He planned for you is the best at the moment, inshallah. Thank you so much for the very interesting and enlightening tips, Madam Hafsah. So for the next question, I think it is meant for Madam Hafsah, but maybe we could hear from Brother Hakimi first, and then we go back to Madam Hafsah. Okay. The question is, what are the initiatives that students should do before they graduate, and what they should learn during their studies in order to survive when facing the challenges, especially during the current moment, during the pandemic? Would you share a bit of your experiences, maybe, Brother Hakimi?
I think the question is for Madam, right?
Like, what are the initiative or skills that students should learn? Yeah, so that they could overcome the challenges now.
Okay, thank you for the question. It's a very good question. For me, as a student, we have, like Madam Hafsah said, we the knowledge that we study in university, we must consider is knowledge. But the others, or the other times that we as a student should do is to equip ourselves with a lot of skills, such as there is a few skills that I can say, such as like public speaking, or for like me, photography and so on, because with this kind of skill maybe will help us in our future lah. Another example that I can give to you, because nowadays for example, today's lots of saya cerita ni berdasarkan pekerjaan lah, maksudnya dari segi keperluan dalam pekerjaan, right? Macam for example, today there are lots of marketing agency that searching for a student that has qualification or have skill in developing website and so on. So this is important skill actually for the student that I think we can learn it lah. Another example like designer and so on, because this kind of skill at the outside, maksudnya di kerja ataupun dengan skill-skill ni actually sebenarnya boleh kita boleh secure job lah, walaupun ini bukan dalam bidang kita belajar lah. Okay, moderator, sorry.
Okay, boleh.
Soalannya agak major, sorry.
So like, if Brother Hakimi, if I may ask, may you share like a bit story or experiences like the challenges that you face when you starting the photography, and how you face them, if I might ask? Do you have any to share?
Among of the challenges is still remember during my study, I have to, of course, to divide my time between studies and this kind of job. So I still remember during my third year study, during this time, we call it is on December, and during that time IUM is having final examination. So me also before the examination, I already took some off job because on December we all know it's a hot date for people to marry, right? So I already took the job, and then um, during that time I have to go back and forth from Gombak to Kedah, my hometown, because the job is at Kedah every weekend. So the gap I use I use for the job. But actually by having this kind of bila terjadinya perkara ni, I had learned that saya perlu orang kata apa, saya belajar yang is important for us to have time management, right? Then during that time, alhamdulillah, although I'm too busy with the job and so on, but I still managed to manage to get to perform in my study also during that semester lah. So apa yang saya rasa cabaran untuk kata as a photography and a student is masa, dan the most important thing is time management.
Yes, true. Very much true. Time management is very important. When I am in my very first year, I struggled a lot with my time management because like I am a law student, and currently we are if like time, Madam Hafsa, like at your time, the credit hours I think should be lower than hours, right, Madam Hafsa? At the time of your study.
Sorry, what was the question again?
The credit hours of law student at your time, at your study time.
Oh, when I did law?
Yeah.
Oh, my time was completely different. We didn't have credit hours.
Oh.
Yes, my time was completely different. My university was really difficult because I was studying in Reading. Now, Reading has a very unique system whereby you during the first year of your degree, you only have to do 3 subjects, 2 law subjects and 1 non-law subject, and you have to get A for all 3 in order for you to continue the second year. So if you don't get 3 A's, you have to repeat the paper. And if you still didn't get after repeating the paper, they will tell you to change to a different course. And then if you manage to get to second year, the final year marks is divided into second year and third year. You know, there's no such thing as, you know, second year is a honeymoon year and then, you know, you just step on the pedal in the final year. No, because it's 50% second year and 50% final year. So I had no choice. I was studying all the time. So mostly ours is, I think 60% is more of exam based and the other 40% more of coursework. So we didn't have credit hours of that sort. So it's a bit different. It's really different.
Oh, it's completely different. I see.
Completely different.
Yes, completely different. Wow, it was so hard.
It was difficult.
Yeah, I think I am currently facing a very hard situation when we are like law students has a very high credit hours compared to other students of different courses, because we have 172, but we already lowered to 168 if I am not mistaken credit hours. So it was very difficult for me, and my time management also is not very good. And I also learned a lot from Brother Hakimi when you already busy with your part-time job during the December month, like the month of your final exam, right? Final exam, and then you need to ulang alik, right, from Kedah to IIUM Gombak. So I think your time management is very great, and I could learn from you also to have a very great time management. Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi, for the tips. And if I could listen from Madam Hafsa regarding the question on the initiative Like, what are the initiatives that students right now, before they graduate, what they should learn and what they should do in order to survive when facing those challenges, those kind of challenges currently?
Okay, I will be talking from the legal experience. What I can tell you is, okay, first and foremost, as a law student, you must learn to study smart, not study hard, because you don't have time to study hard. There's just too many things to learn. So you must learn how to study smart. So you must actually pick up all the tips like speed reading, highlighting major points and learn to elaborate. So that's how you remember things. But one thing's for sure is you must cling to the purpose of you doing whatever that you're doing. For example, Hayatul, you're studying law. Why are you studying law? For what purpose? Is it to become a lawyer? Or is it just you want the knowledge, the legal knowledge? Or is it you want to become a writer? Because, you can become a writer if you study law also. So you have to cling to that purpose, because when you start working, I can tell you that purpose might change, might be distorted, and you might get frustrated because you ended up doing something that you really didn't want to do in the first place. You see? And if you're firm in what you want to do, like, for example, like my purpose in studying law is because I wanted to become a litigation lawyer. That was the purpose I wanted to do. I wanted to go to court. I wanted to argue case. I wanted justice to be dispensed, all that. And I made sure that I find the right firm in doing so, because you do know that there's a lot of hanky-panky that goes on. There's a lot of corruption also. There's a lot of willing and dealing, And as Muslim, more often than not, we will come to a juncture between halal and haram. So that's why it's very, very important to be firm in what you're doing. Never compromise your principles, stick to it. And don't be afraid. Don't let yourself be bullied. I know, for new graduate, they feel like, oh, I don't have a choice. I have to follow. I'm new, I'm inexperienced. My boss will actually fire me or terminate. So be it. Now, if your boss asks you to do something which is haram, if he terminates you for, being firm of telling him it's haram, you won't do it, so be it. You have to always have faith that Allah will give you a different job. Because rather than staying in a job that is haram, which has no blessing, which actually end up giving you mountains of sin, not barakah, it's better to walk. That's what I mean, is you have to be firm. Now, that firmness must be developed while you're still in university. You must really put your foot down. Because once you go out, it's very, very difficult, and you are easily swayed because of the circumstances. Like now, job are scarce. So, if you've been offered a job, of course, you would like to cling to that job. Betul. You would do anything in your power to be employed. But if you were given a choice to do something which is not right, or go against your principle, or go against, a principle of Islam, would you still stay? Or would you walk away and have faith that God will replace it with something better? So to me, that is very, very important. I see students change. I mean, they were good during university, they were firm, they had principles, and something that I was so proud of. But when they joined the workforce, they became, I think the word for it is lalang. They go where the wind blows, which is not good. So that is something that you need to equip yourself with. Time management, yes, I agree with Brother Hamid. Very, very important. That's why I said you must learn to study smart, not study hard. There are tips. There are a lot of things that you can do, inshallah. And the most important is make dua. Always make dua. Before you study, ask God to give you the barakah of the knowledge so that it sticks in your head and you don't have to read it 10 times. Inshallah.
Yes, very true.
Madam, may I at
Yes, please.
during my study, actually how I managed to do the time management is, I think like, when I'm too busy with the society and the job and so on, we try to schedule our time. Also, this time I have to study, this time is for my job, and this time is for and so on lah, or for the society and so on. So semakin busy, semakin kita rasa hargai, kita makin hargai masa yang kita ada tu. So, I think that's what I learned from during my study lah.
And always arrange your schedule according to your prayer, around your prayer. Don't fit your prayer into your schedule. Instead, you fit your schedule into your prayer. Very important. Important. Now, that is where the barakah of time comes in.
MashaAllah. Ya Allah, very important tips, and Ya Allah, so interesting. When I was in my CFS year, I learned a lot on the keberkatan masa. At that time, we called keberkatan masa. Like, even though we are very busy, like Brother Hakimi, he was very busy with all sort of societies. But when we are busy, however, we feel that there is barakah, or we call it as keberkatan masa, because we do not waste our time with things that is not important, but we waste our time. I don't think it's a waste of time, but I think we like contribute our time to the thing that could benefit us in the akhirah, inshallah. Like for Brother Hakimi, when he involved in society, and then he contribute his time to the ummah, or maybe to the society in when he is in his year, and then maybe that could bring him the benefit, or even like pahala that he could bring in the akhirah, inshallah. And if I might say, it is called keberkatan masa, and because it was my like for Madam Hafsah said, firm. The firm is very important, and I think my firm is what I firm is in the word keberkatan masa. From my very beginning, from my CFS year until now, I stay with the word keberkatan masa. Even if I am busy, I always ready to join another society, and like for now, being the moderator in this festival, where I can gain knowledge also from it. I feel very honored to meet both of you and listen to your knowledge, and also listen to your experiences. MashaAllah, I feel very honored right now.
If I may just add, I think the mistake that almost all of us make, even myself, I think, during my early years, is we always want to finish our work first, then only we'll pray. Right? Because we feel that if we stop and pray now, we won't be able to finish the work. No, that's very wrong. Come prayer time, drop everything. You go and see God first. You pray to Him first, because He is time. And you'll be surprised to find that after you finish praying, not only you get to do whatever you set out to do, you find that you're able to do more.
Yes.
You are able to do more. If I can just give you an example, like my book, Letters to God, that was written exactly in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And it would be impossible without His mercy, without Him giving me that time. I don't know how I did it, because I work full time. I'm a full-time mother. I cook, I clean, everything else. But I still managed, alhamdulillah, to finish within that 4 weeks that was set for me by my publisher. But that is really the barakah of time. And it would not be possible if I had actually, delay my prayers, or put God in the back seat. Because the extension of time came from Him. How I did it, wallahu alam, it was all by His mercy. That's why I think, come prayer time, drop everything, do your duty, do your responsibility. Have faith that you will finish the work, inshallah.
Inshallah, very true. Inshallah, very wonderful tips, Madam Hafsah. I think it was very interesting and also wonderful when you can complete your books in 4 weeks. Not many people can do that. Very wonderful, Madam Hafsah. Thank you so much. So I think we already finished actually with our third rounds. We have another 2 rounds. And actually, when Madam Hafsah said about purpose earlier, and your first confirmed earlier, I actually want to share what is my first ambition, like why I am very interested in law in the first place. If the two of you want to hear, if not, we can skip.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, I love to share my story because I love I love to bercerita with others. Okay, so like why I am very interested in law in the very first place, because it was from start with my father's dua. Because when my aunt and my uncle asked my father, what's your daughter ambition, what she want to be, because I studied from science school and I took accounting and science stream. But why I am taking law currently? So because my father, when my aunts and uncle and his friends asked him what your daughter wants to be, he always said she wants to be a lawyer. She wants to be a lawyer. But I, in my mind at that time, no words law, no, because I do not want to solve another people's problem. I have my own problems, so why do I be a lawyer and solve another person's problems? Like, it's so like it gives me a big headache. So I said to my father, no, why law, no. But he told me that it was just a joke. He just want one of his daughter being a lawyer, but not that he forced me to be a lawyer. But he just said to other people like she wants to be a lawyer. She wants to be a lawyer. And then when I ended my SPM, when I want to fill in my PPU, and then I choose, I don't know why, like maybe the ilham come to me, and then I choose law for all eight spots, like law. And then the first place is law in IIUM. And then alhamdulillah, I got law, and now I am currently studying law. And what I interested to be, I mean, my ambition is I want to be a public defender, but I am not sure whether we have public defender in Malaysia because it is a pro bono job. And then I don't think we have public defender, but we do have public prosecutor. But yeah, I don't think I'm not sure whether we have public defender or not. But that is my very first ambition when I study law currently. Thank you so much for listening to my stories.
We don't have public offender, I can tell you that.
In Malaysia, madam.
Yeah, we don't have public offenders, but what we do have is we do have legal aid. Legal aid. Yes, legal aid is run by the Bar Council, and which offers somewhat free legal service for those who are in need. And the panel of lawyers are volunteer lawyers. So this is where you can actually come in and volunteer yourself to become one of the lawyers on the panel. You don't get paid for your services. You will only get paid for expenses. You know, court expenses, traveling, and these are the only things that you get. But for your services per se, you won't get paid. But so that is as close as it gets. Now, public prosecutor is BPP or PPP.
Yeah.
Which in the current time, I do not suggest that you join.
Yes, true. I am not even interested in it.
Not only conflict of interest, there'll be conflict of religion as well. You know? So it's always better to be in private practice where you are kind of you know, you are in control of your workflow and whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, madam. Wow, we do have legal aid. I am very scared to be involved with public prosecutor because many stories that were shared from my lecture, stories of like this. It was very dangerous for a woman or maybe a girl to be a PPP.
Yes, actually it is. It is actually very dangerous.
So I do not even interested in it because I love myself. Okay, so we already ended with our third round. So I hope Brother Hakimi could get involved with our conversation. I feel very sorry because I think maybe my story is not relevant to Brother Hakimi. But thank you so much for listening. So we continue with our fourth round. So Brother Hakimi and Madam Hafsah, if we observe the current social media trends, a lot of information, stories, viral tweets are shared through social media. Just I want to ask, how students can use their skills in writing or even photography to spread the da'wah towards society? Maybe Brother Hakimi may start first.
Okay, how we want to spread the dakwah. Thank you for the question. It's a very good question actually. For me, in photography, how we want to spread the dakwah. Um, I just want to share during my study, there is one competition. I don't know whether this competition still there in IUM. You guys know I call kindness challenge. Have you ever heard about this kind of competition? No,
Not sure.
not sure. Maybe during my time, there
Maybe
is
we do have. Maybe we do have. But
we don't have.
we do have. Maybe we do have.
During this competition, during my time, I had joined this competition. Actually, this competition, the participant had to send pictures that have what we call uh, kindness in that picture, right? So I joined the competition, but unfortunately I didn't win. But I still remember the winner, the pictures of the winner. There is a man who is helping an old man that sit on a wheelchair. So from this, I can say that actually by photography we can deliver a message, or a good photo is actually it has a good message. As we all know, dakwah in dakwah we have a few ways to deliver dakwah, right? Such as bilhal, or we call with action, or bil mal, bil lisan, or bil kutub, with writing and so on. But I think with photography actually we deliver the dakwah by hal, action. Another example, because now I'm working at my NGO, in Palestine NGO. There is one of the photographer that I used to refer in. He is from Palestine. His name is Sanat Latifa. You guys can search in Instagram. Her photo is it has very deep meaning or value. Everyone can take photos, but not many people can take photo with message in it. Okay. One of the photo that I still remember is about children. Children. She lost her arm due to the war, and that picture show she is smiling while playing at the playground. So we can see that although he faced all this kind of challenge, but although she faced this kind of challenge, but she deserves happiness. That show that actually by photos we can deliver a message. Same like how we want to deliver dakwah and so on in social media, is by taking a good photo that maybe cover the aurah, or maybe photo about charity, for example, or photo someone is doing sedekah, for example. Maybe when the viewers saw the pictures, it will encourage them to do a good deeds. So I think um, for a good photographer will produce a photo that has a good value. Yes. So in dakwah, if you want to deliver dakwah by photography and so on, make sure that our photo has a good message.
Yes, very true. A good photo must have a good message. And that's how we can use our skill in photography to spread the da'wah to the
Yes.
society, to produce a very good photo that has a good value. Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi. So maybe we could hear from Madam Hafsa, how did writing can help to spread da'wah to the society?
Okay. One of the main purpose of me writing is definitely was to actually share about Islam, and mine was more to reaching the not yet Muslims, and also those Muslims who were like me, who who was lost, and searching and couldn't find the answer. So that was the purpose of all of my books, was just to provide perhaps an answer or some sort of link for them to know that, okay, this is where I can start searching. These are the books that perhaps I can read. Maybe these are the answer to the question I also have. But the thing is, whatever we do, especially in writing is in ink. So it will be there even way long after we die. So it's very, very important to be responsible in what we put out there. Whether it's photography, whether it's writing, you have to be responsible. Now you got to make sure that what you write is true. It's not something which is fictional. And when it comes to religion, I'm not talking about novels. I'm talking about things that's supposed to be factual. Make sure that it is true. When you talk about religion, you got to search the Quran and Hadith. You got to quote properly. Don't simply share just because you see people sharing. Go back to source. And there's a lot of, Hadiths which are not true, which are not sahih, which are being shared. And unfortunately, people don't check. It's not difficult to check, actually. Really, it is not difficult to check whether it is a authentic hadith or not. So take the time to check before you share. Number one. Number two, when it comes to sharing about somebody else, always think many times. Because unless you are able to verify the fact of the things that you're sharing, my advice would be don't. Because if it's fitna, then you share a portion of the sin. Even though you didn't create the fitna, or the fitna did not come from you, but the fact that you shared, you would be in the category of subahat. So be very, very careful. Now, there is a very clear hadith that says that for every good that we ask people to do, we will get a portion of the reward, inshallah. And also for every bad thing that we encourage people to do, and people follow upon what we encourage, we also get a share of the sin. So be very, very careful, especially in writing. Only write about things that are good, and write about things that can inspire people, write about things that can help people. Don't write things that, that make people angry or make people unhappy or make people hate you. You don't need hatred in your life. I don't understand why people would do things to invite, hatred or a lot of curse words and stuff like that. So do things that are good. Inshallah, it will, you will get the barakah of it. So be responsible in what you share. There are many, many ways for us to actually do da'wah. So make full use of it, but be responsible, because it will come back to us. It will come back to us for every single thing that we put out. During Judgment Day, will be questioned. Every single word, every single utterance, and every single act and conduct. So be very careful. Yeah?
Yes, Madam Hafsah. So we must check before we share something, right? And we need to share a good thing and must be responsible in what we share. If we currently scrolling through social media, there are so many hate comments, so many hate things that was true to another people in the social media. So I think it was a very, very bad thing, and it was very sad when we are scrolling the social media and we saw those hates towards the people, especially during this current time, during this current era where many people just can throw hate through cyberbullying. And I think it was very, very, and it was very sad and very bad. Thank you so much, Hamid. Yeah.
We forget one of the main teachings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our Prophet says, either you speak good or you keep quiet.
Yes.
And we often forget that. I don't understand why. We call ourselves Umat Muhammad, but yet we refuse to follow his teaching. So speak good. If not, hold your tongue.
Yes, true.
Sometimes the thing that most people share sometimes it's not true also.
Yes,
But
correct.
kita ni lean lah, maksudnya macam mudah terpengaruh dengan bila orang banyak share benda tu betul lah. Sometimes.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. So it's not one of the training to one of the legal training is always verify your facts. Hayatul, before you
Yes,
share, check your authorities, check your
Yes.
cases,
true. So verify your facts.
verify your facts,
most
your
important.
arguments. Yes, you have to have the correct cases to back up your arguments. It's the same
True.
principle in life. Verify your facts. If you're not sure, don't share.
Yes, very true.
Mm.
It is best to keep silent if you are not sure.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
correct.
So if I might ask, mind sharing like your achievements in writing or even photography or best moments when working as writer or photographer? Brother Hakimi first.
Best moment, I think there are lots of beautiful moments throughout 7 years being a photographer. One of it, alhamdulillah, I have been chosen to be in one of the segment in newspaper in Berita Harian, which the segment called Varsity Usahawan Muda, where the
Mashallah.
student the student that still study but doing some what we call young entrepreneur. So I think that is one of my biggest achievement lah. Besides, I also had the experience when I be a photographer in one of this program, and we go to the kampung orang asli at Kelantan. During that time, there is a family lah. Masa tu setiap daripada peserta ataupun kami ni diberi keluarga angkat. And then masa saya pergi tu, my keluarga angkat ni dia belum betul-betul Islam. And then during that time there is a module that each group must do on their keluarga angkat ni is to teach how to wear hijab. So in my group, diorang ajar lah, kalau orang asli ni mak dipanggil Ahmed. So diorang ajar Ahmed ni pakai tudung and so on. And then okay lah, so habis program, so kita pun balik apa semua. 2 years after that, the other groups go, masa tu batch lain lah yang pergi. Saya dapat tahu yang Hamid tu sekarang dah istiqomah pakai tudung, dah maksudnya Islam dalam diri dia tu dah betul-betul kuat, dah selalu turun ke masjid and so on. So I think it was the best moment for me lah when we heard about this kind of news.
It was a volunteer or do you join the society?
Volunteer mission.
Wow, very interesting, Brother Hakim. It was a very best moment for you lah. And
yes, during that time I'm the media committee.
Media committee. Oh, it's very interesting because I also very interested in volunteer things, but in the current pandemic we could not do so lah. We could not visit others, right? Do you currently still visiting your adopted family, Ahmed? Yeah.
Because of the pandemic, we cannot go to that place. So,
what was the last time you keep in touch with them?
I think it was last year. I got the news from my friend that go there. So I did not have the opportunity to speak with her, but I asked my friend lah, sampaikan salam.
Do they speak in like Malay language or their language?
Actually, they can speak like us. There is ada seorang tu yang siap boleh cakap bahasa Inggeris lagi dekat sana. Kalau if you guys want to join this kind of maybe after the pandemic lah, maybe after the pandemic, you can join. In UAE also have society called Jasa and so on that enter to Kampung Orang Asli ni. So I encourage you guys to join like this kind of project because sometimes when we go for a program, we learn something that we never learn in our class.
True. Very much true. I agree with that. And it's also like very interesting, right? When we help others and then we
Yes.
learn something from it.
We feel very satisfied when
Yes.
we help those people. Like now,
Yes.
many people are suffering with this pandemic,
Yeah.
and our NGO also help by giving some food bank and so on. We sometimes we heard many kind of story from their side, what happened to their family and so on, and it is very touch. I mean, tersentuh lah, tersentuh lah bila dengar cerita-cerita daripada diorang ni.
Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi, for the sharing on your stories. I think I am also very touched, and I could feel like what you say just now, that you are very touched when Ahmed could slowly become istiqomah and then go to mosque. Yeah, I think I could also like bayangkan that kind of thing. Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi, for the sharing. So how about Madam Aslah? Could you share your best moment or your achievement in becoming a writer?
I dare not say it is my achievement because I cannot claim credit for whatever that has happened, because of my writing and like that, because credit belongs to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Nothing belongs to me. But what I can say is moments which God had actually shown me or opened my eyes from the effect of my writing. Because when I set out to share knowledge with people, and He had actually showed me, the effect of the sharing. And there are many moments actually. It's just one of them is I had a Chinese lady who tracked me down through my book, and she told me that after reading my book, she was ready to accept Islam. And I was touched because she literally tracked me down. She found out where I was working and stuff like that, and just to thank me for the book. And to me, is mashallah, this is when they say that the pen is mightier than the sword. You can do a lot of things with writing, and then another thing is a school friend of mine. She said to me that after reading my Hajj experience, she decided to go for Hajj, which she did. And that thing, those things, to me, I am very thankful. And there are many other moments, I think. But the thing is, what we want is not praise. What I want is not praises for the book, or praises for it being a bestseller, or number of copies that it's been sold. What I would really want to see is how it has touched, another person's life. Is it doing what it's supposed to do, which is sharing, or is it supposed to like hopefully make somebody a better person? Is it doing that? Or has it opened certain doors for certain people? These are the things which I would like to see from my writing. And Alhamdulillah, God has actually shown me that, in His ways, to people, to sometimes people send me emails and messages, and it makes me very humble. It makes me very humble. How I'm sure even Brother Hakimi, if one of his photographs has touched another person, it means the world. Although it's just one person, it means the world. So it's that you feel that you are actually doing something worthwhile, and you are really, really trying truly to be Khalifah of Allah. Trying to feel very hard those shoes. So it's always work in progress, but inshallah.
Inshallah. This was very great, and I am very touched with the stories of both of you, and I am amazed at all of the knowledge gained tonight. And actually, that was our last round. The sharing of your experience, the sharing of your achievements and your best moments. I am once again very amazed at all of the knowledge gained in our forum tonight. Thank you to all of the amazing panelists for the session of sharing your thoughts regarding the topic of freelancing, writing, and photography. I think we acquired a lot of benefits and advice that will be useful for the students out there that are curious about these matters, and including myself. And very well respected audiences, we have arrived at the Q&A session. Anyone who has any questions, you may write them in the comment section. And I think we already received many questions here, so let me address the questions first. So the first question is for Brother Hakimi from Brother Hafiz Legacy. So he asked, kamera apa yang Tuan Hakimi pakai? Berapa harga second hand? That was the question. And another question he asked, kamera lebih baik beli second hand ke first hand? Mana lagi baik?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Kamera apa? Saya tak tahulah, kalau ada yang tahu, kamera yang saya pakai sekarang adalah Canon EOS RP, second hand je. Harga dia second hand body sahaja 4K lah, 4,000. So itulah untuk soalan yang pertama. Dan soalan kedua, lebih baik second atau first hand. Sebagai fotografi, 7 tahun saya jadi fotografer ni, saya rasa saya tak pernah lagi beli kamera yang baru. Semuanya saya beli yang second hand je, sebab bila kita as a photographer ni, kita sentiasa nak upgrade kita punya equipment and so on. So for me, it's okay to buy the second hand, but we have to know lah how we want to buy it, such as kita kena tengok berapa kali dia kamera tu dah diketik, ataupun bahasa mudahnya lah, ataupun tengok kondisi luar dan sebagainya. Second hand pun dah okay dah.
I see. And another question actually from Sister Aina Zulkifli. He also asked Brother Hakimi, how long do you take to master in using DSLR?
For me, it took, I think, 2 years to be master in photography, because during that time I had to divide between my study and my photography lah. Tetapi there is one way if we want to learn fast. I think this kind of way terpakai untuk semua. Maksudnya apa-apa sahaja skill yang kita nak belajar. Cara yang paling cepat untuk kita belajar adalah dengan cari seorang mentor dan sentiasa follow mentor tu. Because as a mentor, they know, okay, benda ni kau tak perlu buat, so tak payah buat. Benda ni macam ni. So itu itu cara yang paling cepat. Macam there is my friend yang belajar fotografi ni, dia ambil masa dalam a few months. Dia terus master dengan fotografi ni sebab dia selalu follow macam orang-orang hebat dalam fotografi ni. So if you want to master, tak kira lah dalam apa-apa bidang dengan cepat, cara yang paling cepat adalah dengan cari seorang mentor yang bagus dan follow lah, maksudnya ikut apa yang dia kata semua.
If I might ask Brother Hakimi, like how long do you, for yourself, do you take in learning and using DSLR and photography?
Berapa lama saya belajar? Kalau saya selama 2 tahun jugalah, sebab masa awal-awal tu saya hanya masuk kelas 2 kali saja, kelas fotografi. Selebihnya saya tengok YouTube dan saya tanya orang. Sebab tu dia lambat sikit lah proses nak master tu.
Faham? I see. Thank you so much, Brother Hakimi, and thank you so much for the questions from Sister Aina. The next question from Brother Afif Zulkifli. He asked Madam Hafsah, Madam, what is your opinion about some people who have gone through difficult times that say, you were not in our shoes, so you will not understand our hardship. What advice we can give to them? That was the question.
Oh, okay. All I can say is everybody will go through hardship. Even the prophets went through hardship. I believe our beloved Prophet Muhammad SAW went through enormous hardship. So why should we be spared? It's true, yes, that we are not in another person's shoes. But you know, you have to understand, each of us are different. Each of us have a different journey, which has been determined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, God Almighty. You know, each of us have our own tablet. Each of us have our own different books of deeds. So of course, we will go different path. We will go through different trials and we will go through different hardship. No hardship will be the same. So we can never compare apple to apple. But what we can compare is our level of patience. Because the thing is, who are we to go through life easy? We are not anybody special, you know. So hardship is part of life. Now, if anybody wants to say to you, yes, your journey is unique. Your journey is different. It may be difficult, but it is still unique. Now, the more difficult it is, which means that the more rewards you will get. The more difficult it is, which means that Allah loves you. You know, because if Allah doesn't love you, He will just let you be. And you will just, you know, you will just float around, you know, doing nothing. You don't even realize what goes around. You don't feel any hardship. You don't feel anything. But the fact that you feel hardship and that hardship brings you back to Him, you go running towards Him, it's a good thing. And every time you run towards Him, it makes you go closer to Him. So it's a good thing, you know? So yes, we will never walk in other people's shoes. We will never walk. And the reason for that is not for us to understand, because we can never truly understand the hardship. But the purpose, I think there's a saying that walking in other person's shoes is more towards we don't judge. Whatever the person goes through, we don't judge. Because each of us have our own challenge. Each, as much as we do not like to be judged, you know, of how we handle things, we don't judge other people how they handle things, you know. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Hafsah. I think hardship and challenges makes people stronger, but maybe we don't realize it because we keep say to God that why do we? Kenapa kita yang dipilih? So
there's a verse in the Quran which I don't remember which verse exactly, you know, where God says that you can't say that you believe and you not be tested.
Yes, true.
Can. And there's also another verse say that for every hardship there's relief. So
yes.
In order for you to get relief, you must go through hardship. Yes. You can't get relief without hardship.
Yes. I think that was in Surah Al-Nashrah.
There's a few. Yeah. There's a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsah, for the question. And we have next question from Sister Norhafsah. Maybe this question was meant for both of you. The question is, I have a question about posting something on social media. I have a few friends that are being too open. They often share improper images that I can't even bear to see it, but somehow I saw it. How to tell my friends that they should be aware with what they are sharing? I respect it if they are being too open and liberal, but it's so uncomfortable with this situation. I think maybe anyone, Brother Hakimi or Madam Hafsah, may answer this question. Maybe, yeah.
Can I start, Brother Hakimi?
Yes.
Okay. My advice would be, if if these are your friends, number one is try to advise them gently. And I mean gently, in a gentle way, not like screaming and cursing. No, just you need to advise them following the way that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would always advise people, which is in a gentle way. Now, if that fails, then you got to unfollow them, unfortunately. So because in order for you to actually be on the path, to get closer to God, there are people where you have to follow and there are people where you have to unfollow. Unfortunately, in most cases, it will be your friends. It could be friends who've been with you, since day one. It could be childhood friends. But, I always believe that every day when we pray, we will make dua to God, lead us to the straight path, lead us to the straight path, lead us to the straight path. And sometimes leading us to the straight path, which means that God will keep away people who are not good for us and will bring closer people who are good for us. So for these friends, unfortunately, perhaps you would need to unfollow them. I'm not saying unfriend them. There's a difference with unfollowing and unfriending. Okay, so unfollow them on social media and anything that they might share, but you can still be friends with them, And if you think that it's a little bit too much, then perhaps you can actually keep your distance. You can't worry about not having friends. Okay, it's better to have friends who are good, one person who's good, than having 100 who are bad. That is something that you have lived. There's also a hadith, a very clear hadith about keeping good companionship.
Yes.
So just if it gets too much, if they don't follow, if they don't want to listen to your advice, then just unfollow them. I know FB there's this thing called unfollow. It's not unfriending, but it's unfollowing. Am I right? There's something like that on FB. Right? So do that, inshallah. And I think if you unfollow a person on FB, they won't know that you unfollow them. Am I right?
Yes, true.
So it can be done discreetly. So don't worry. That's what you need to do.
Bila kita unfollow tu tak semestinya kita tidak berkawan kan.
Yeah, and it's not like putuskan silaturahim, ya. There's a difference.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Kalau tanya saya, jawapan saya pun lebih kurang sama lah. Yang benda pertama yang kita perlu buat adalah tegur orang tu lah kan. Dan yang kedua, bila kita dah orang kata apa, dah tegur dan sebagainya, kalau dia tak nak dengar juga, kita still kawan dengan dia. Tapi kalau boleh kita awal sekali kita jangan ada judge dengan dia lah. Kita tahu maksudnya dia ni background dia macam mana. Mungkin background dia tak sama kita dibesarkan dengan knowledge agama dan sebagainya. So kita tegur je dulu ataupun kita bagi tahu kenapa perlunya jangan post macam ni sebagainya, supaya dia tahu benda tu sebenarnya tak boleh. Tapi jangan kita perli ataupun itu cara tu tak salah. Tegur elok dulu lah.
So, macam mana kalau contoh kita nak bagi tahu yang mereka perlu aware dengan apa yang mereka kongsikan? Brother Hakimi, do you have any tips on how to tell them?
Macam kami sendiri dalam circle fotografer ni, kami ada orang-orang yang macam selalu create awareness lah, macam selalu advice, macam bila ada orang post gambar-gambar contoh weddings tapi dia post dekat group gambar macam tak menutup aurat dan sebagainya, ada a few orang kata macam orang-orang legend lah, kalau bagi fotografer ni orang legend dia akan tegur. Saya tak perlu kot post gambar-gambar yang tak tutup aurat macam ni, takut bagi saham dan sebagainya. So benda tu bila kita tegur tu lama kelamaan dah tak ada lah maksud orang post gambar-gambar yang tak menutup aurat sebagainya. Tu simpanan peribadi dia orang dia maksudnya. So mungkin boleh cara tu masa kena selalu mention lah benda tu, walaupun tak ada orang post ke apa, kita selalu sebut-sebut. So bila kawan kita tengok pun, oh sebenarnya dia ni tak suka kita post benda macam ni. So secara automatik dia pun tak post lah.
Betul. Faham? Thank you, Brother Hakimi. Thank you for the tips and your experience. So let's go to the next question. And next question is from Sister Sophia. A question for Madam Norhafsah. Does every human being need to be good and master in writing?
No, no. You don't have to be good in writing, or you don't have to master in writing. What you need to have is good intention, and you must have knowledge and passion. Writing is all about passion, because if you're not passionate about it, then you won't be able to write properly. I will always tell those who wants to start writing, always write from the heart. If you want to touch another person's heart, you must write from your heart. If you are like writing for the wrong reason, like for example, if you want to write a book because you want to make lots of money, then you might not touch anybody's heart.
True.
See? So it goes back to intention. But you must read a lot. To become a writer, you must read a lot, because for whatever that comes out, there must be something that goes in. The going in is the knowledge. The going out is also the knowledge. So you can't have knowledge going out if you don't have knowledge going in. So read. Ikra. Read, and lot of practice, of course. Then you become good, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsah. So let's go to the next question from Sister Wanu Shakira to both of the panelists. She asked, just want to know for the freelancers, especially those who are very passionate in photography and writing, can you suggest to us any medium or platform or any websites that we have for job opportunities? Maybe Brother Hakimi can go first.
Okay, for the question, actually when we talk about freelancing, it's not about writing and photography only. Many more bidang yang boleh kita ceburi dalam freelancing ni. For example, like translating or designer and so on. Maybe I can give a few lists for those yang interest to be freelance. There is I can give maybe 3 words. First, you guys can try to search freelancer.com. Freelancer.com ni where we can bid. There are kat situ dia ada banyak pilihan option. Contohnya macam job untuk translator, jobs untuk designer dan sebagainya. So kita boleh letak harga kita. We can bid our price there, and all the job will be paid in dollar. So freelancer.com. And then another website that you can explore is fiverr.com. It is 100% free, only register. Fiverr.com. Fiver. And then Fiverr, sorry, Fiverr.
Fiverr, okay.
Fiverr is vaccine. Okay, and then also one of the initiative from our government also have MDEC. If you guys ever heard about that, MDEC, you can go to the website. Adalah maksudnya ramai yang dah join MDEC ni sebab dekat situ ni inisiatif daripada government. Kat situ ada coaching punya kelas, dan diorang ajar macam mana kita ni as a freelance nak dapatkan job international. Sebab sampai ada yang boleh dapat dengan by doing freelancing, dia dapat earn income sebanyak paling kurang boleh dapat 4K lah, because sebab diorang bayar dalam dolar kan. So kalau siapa-siapa yang berminat untuk freelance, boleh cuba try explore website-website ni lah.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Hakimi. Freelance.com and Fiverr.com, right?
Fiverr.com and MDEC.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing the medium and platform. So what about Madam Hafsah? What are the mediums or platform if you're interested to become a freelance writer?
Ooh, I am not the best person to answer that. I think Brother Hakimi has actually answered that question, because I was never a freelance writer. So I honestly, I don't know.
Okay, it's okay, madam. Thank you so much. I think Brother Hakimi has already answered the question earlier, but yeah, maybe we could we could hear any medium or platform from Madam Hafsah. But it's okay, madam. Thank you so much. So let's continue to the next question from Brother Ahmadul Adnan. If a student wants to be a good writer, what values and habits should he have? Is it a good decision to publish article, paper during undergraduate? That was the question for Madam Hafsah.
Yeah. What values? Sincerity, honesty, and you must read a lot. These are the 3 key things that you must have in order to become a good writer. For me, in my opinion, so that you always write sincerely, you will always write in all honesty, and you will always write whatever that you have learned, which means that whatever knowledge, we have to understand whatever knowledge that we gain, we have responsibility to share. So that's why writing comes into play, or photography comes to play. We must share. We can't keep it, to ourselves. We can't be selfish, because one of the things that will be questioned, after our death is, what did we do with the knowledge that was given to us? So be careful. Make sure you share. Jangan kedekut ilmu. I know during exam, there's always thing, this kedekut ilmu kind of thing. I mean, I had it during my study days, so I'm quite, share whatever you have. Even if you share, it would not diminish whatever you know. It would not make you less smart or anything like that.
Yes.
Correct. So if at all, it will make you smarter, because when you learn to share, you learn to explain. When you learn to explain, then you understand it better. So
True,
yes, I would think that it is a very good decision to publish article during your a paper or article during an undergraduate time. It's good. It's always good to start early, so you get into the habit of writing, and you know how to actually manage your time. So whenever you can, publish article, paper, or short stories, or even if you enter competition, go ahead, do any opportunities that you can find to write, do it, because you need to practice. Writing is like language. You have to practice. You don't become good overnight. It's not like it's a miracle and suddenly you're good. You have to practice. You got to work hard. How do you build up your reading habits? My reading habit started since I was small. My father was he started all my sisters, he made us fall in love with books, because my father was he was an ambassador, but prior to that he was working at the Ministry of Education. So he used to bring back books from libraries, and my sisters and I would always fight over those books. And he will always tell us that the books are the window to knowledge and window to the other side of the world. So we started our reading habits very, very young. But again, the type of reading materials. Now, if you want to write about things factual, or you want to write about birds and the bees, so you read more on those type of books. If you want to write about religion, then you read more on those type of books, depending on what your interest is, But for me, when I started reading, I read everything. Anything that I could get my hands on, I read. Whether it's Bahasa or English, everything I read. But, as I grow older, then my reading habits change. The type of books that I read change, again, because now I have less time. So I have to be very picky as to my reading material. So now I pick and choose the books that I read. And in more of now it's more of the religious book rather than the fiction. I do read fiction, I still do, but not as often as before. So based on your interests, so read things on what you want to write about, that'll be good.
Yes, thank you, Madam Hafsah. And we have another question also to Madam Hafsah from Brother Hafiz Isa. He states, Assalamualaikum, Madam Hafsah. I also have ambition to be a book author. So I have 2 questions for you. So let me read the first question. What characteristics and preparation that we need to have to be a book writer? And second, can you share a little bit what type of challenges that you need to face when you first be a book writer, a book author? That was the question.
Okay, I think question number 1 that was actually answered.
Yeah.
Honesty, sincerity, read lots of books. Okay. Now I think I will go to dive into question number 2. What type of challenges that you need to face when you first become an author? Okay. Now I believe that Allah put us in all our journey for a specific reason. I know there's a reason why Allah has actually chosen my first path or my career path as a litigation lawyer, so that I developed thick skin. I'm used to getting the files thrown at me in court. I'm used to getting screamed at by the judges. So I developed a thick skin. And it is very important if you want to become an author. Even if a photographer, because whatever it is, the type of work that you do, we are always open to criticism. And some of the criticisms are not nice. Some are just downright nasty. Some are just mean. So these are the things that you need to prepare yourself to. Whatever that you put out there, you must prepare yourself to being open to criticism, and you must prepare yourself to be attacked to whatever you write. I received messages saying that my book is lousy. I've received criticism saying the book is useless. So I do get that. But at the end of the day, it boils down to why I'm writing. If I'm writing to share knowledge, then I will do the best that I can. Then I leave everything in the hands of Allah. Whether it's mean criticism, whether it's nasty criticism, I don't deal with it. I let Allah be with it, because I just do what I need to do. And I leave everything to Him, and I leave everything in His hands. But we need to have that patience. You must have that patience. I think the word is you must be very steadfast in your journey. You have to be firm, and you cannot give up. Because da'wah is not an easy journey. Doing da'wah is not going to be easy. I think if you read about all the prophets, you will know that they didn't have it easy in trying to spread the religion. So we can't expect it to be easy either. But this is something that you should expect. Make a lot of dua, inshallah.
Yes, very true. If da'wah is easy, then many people want to do it, but because it is not easy, that's why not many people are willing to do da'wah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Hafsah. I think maybe you could hear from Brother Hakimi, like what type of challenges that you face when you first become a photographer. Maybe you could hear from him.
Cabaran masa saya nak menjadi fotografer. Saya ada sebut juga tadi, antara cabaran adalah masa yang saya kata pembahagian antara belajar dan tak belajar fotografi pada masa sama. Kita ada tanggungjawab sebagai seorang pelajar and so on. Selain itu, antara cabaran lain mungkin saya rasa itulah, maksud masa tu tak sempat. Kalau saya lah, personally adalah masa lah. Selain yang lain, kalau sebab sekarang kita senang, kita ada YouTube dan sebagainya. So masa untuk nak cari ilmu tu sangat senang lah. Tapi masa saya sebagai fotografer ni, wedding photographer lah khususnya, benda yang paling penting adalah kita experience benda tu. Tapi bila hujung minggu kita sibuk dengan benda lain, so kita tak dapat nak fokus lah on that passion. I think masa adalah cabaran paling ni lah bagi saya.
Yeah, because for Madam Hafsah, she was criticized for her lousy writing, right? Madam, like when she first started, like for Brother Hakimi, do you ever being criticized by others?
Itu pernah. Maksudnya masa awal-awal saya ceburi dalam bidang fotografi ni, Masa tu saya one of the apprentice dalam satu, masa saya first year lah. Saya jadi one of apprentice untuk satu company ni, Sweet Pictures. Dalam company ni dia memang okay, siapa yang belajar, okay, mula-mula ikut, lepas tu kita ambil gambar dan balik tu kita kena present gambar yang kita dah shoot tu. Dan kat situ akan ada critic session. Memang masa critic session tu memang kena tahan sikit lah. Maksudnya memang diorang akan kritik betul-betul gambar kita. Tapi the good news is apabila lepas dikritik tu, banyak benda yang kita boleh improve daripada apa yang dah kita hasilkan. Kadang-kadang pujian, terlalu banyak pujian ni pun tak bagus juga for our improvement. Kadang-kadang kita post kan, gambar tu biasa je, tapi orang, lawa lah gambar ni kan. Kita jadi shock sendiri kan. Sometimes bila orang macam komen, tak kena ni, patutnya kau macam ni kan. Baru kita macam, next after that kita improve. Dan benda tu lagi membantu sebenarnya.
True.
Teguran
True, very true. Yeah.
penting juga.
Thank you, Brother Hakimi. We have lots of questions here. However, we do not have much time, so I think we have come to the last question. But all of these questions, maybe the committee's member will send to Brother Hakimi and Madam Hafsah, and then we will provide the answers for the participants later, inshallah. So for the last question, if I may read, to Madam Norhafsah, which or what kind of writing styles attract readers, especially when writing non-fictional stories and it's about a heavy topic such as philosophy? Yes, that was the question.
Hang on. What was the question again?
The question is, what kind of writing styles that attract the readers, especially when writing non-fictional stories or a heavy topic such as philosophy? So what kind of style that could attract readers?
Oh, I think that's some very subjective question because different readers have different style. Different readers have different tastes. Now, and writers have different styles and writers have different tastes. For me as a writer, I don't conform to any style of writing. I do what I like, basically. And the thing is, I write how I want the message to go across. So my non-fiction, the books, it's a different, the language is a very easy language. It is as if I'm talking to you. But my fiction is, the story is something which I want it to be more realistic, you know. None of the, I know there's a lot of Malay novels in the market. Oh my God, I can't even remember some of the titles that have been made into, I think, drama or Suamiku Sotong, those kind of things. You know?
The adaptation. Adaptasi drama.
Yes, so there's a lot of those type of books I've been made to understand in the market that's been made into drama. But my books are different because I do not want it to be something like that. You know, I want it to be something which is realistic in everyday life, and the lessons that we want to, the lesson that I want to put out there is something that you can use in everyday life. Simple things like, you know, saying Bismillah when you eat, you know, giving salam to a fellow Muslim brothers or sister, you know, wearing your shoes starting with your right leg and you know, and then your left leg. These are simple things that actually we forget. We forget. And sometimes when you put it in a story, it's easier for people to remember, you know, and these are easy sunnah that we can follow. Am I right? You know, and sometimes it's the easy ones that we forget and we want to do the more difficult one, you know. But always start small. So if you want to become a writer, then you need to actually decide what kind of writer you are. Whether you want to be a fiction writer or you want to be a non-fiction writer, you know, and the style of writing is also up to you. You can actually do a market survey of what people want, but I don't agree with that because then you're not writing for yourself, you're writing to please people. And when you try to write to please others, you can never win. and you will end up feeling frustrated because people can't be pleased. So for me is decide what you want to do, stick to that, make dua, just go ahead, right? If you fall down, get up, right again. If you fall down again, get up, right again. Simple.
True. Never give up.
Never give up.
Actually,
Thank you so much.
kalau macam dalam photographer pun, a good photographer ni dia ada their own identity. So I don't know ada related with writing. So, bila kita ada identiti sendiri tu, maksudnya kita tak mudah ikut orang dan sebagainya. Itu akan lagi bagus lah. Macam kalau saya tengok Madam punya apa yang dia nak sampaikan benda yang macam mudah untuk orang buat. Nasihat-nasihat yang macam senang nak buat. So itu mungkin identiti yang Madam cuba sampaikan. Mungkin kalau orang lain nak jadi penulis, dia ada dia punya tersendiri dia. So mungkin kena explore apa yang identiti kita tu.
Yeah.
Macam
I
minat tu
believe-
subjektif lah.
Betul. I believe in writing and using the language that people can understand. Even though I am a lawyer, I know a lot of bombastic, words and stuff. But there's no point me writing a book full of difficult words that people, every time they, one paragraph, they have to go and find a dictionary. What's the point? And halfway through, they get fed up because they don't understand. That's not the purpose of writing. So I always believe in writing things simply that people can understand. That's the purpose of writing pun, supaya orang faham. If you write something orang tak faham, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? If you
Very
want to
true.
impress people, then write a dictionary. Don't write a book.
Yes, true. Very true. Very interesting tips. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsah and Brother Hakimi. So we have finally come to the end of our session. Maybe we could hear a last word from Brother Hakimi and Madam Hafsah to our audiences tonight. Maybe Brother Hakimi will start first. Any last word?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to the organizer for organizing the program. It's very good program, I think. And last word from me, as a student, during our study, explore as much as you can. Join as many as society to get more experience. And whatever apa je bidang yang kita ada, yang paling penting adalah to give benefit to others. Try to give benefit with apa kemahiran kita ada ni, try to give benefit to others.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, thank you so much. Maybe we could continue with Madam Hafsah.
My advice would be is whatever you do, set your intention right. Whatever you do, whether it's studying, whatever it is, set your intention right. Number 2 is always do things lillah ta'ala, for the sake of Allah. Because if you set your goal as that, inshallah you won't go wrong, and everything, every step of the way there will be barakah. Enjoy studying while you can, because trust me, when you start working, you won't have time to study. And then while you're studying, this is when the best time for you to read. Because when you start working, you won't have time to read. Don't you agree, Brother Hakimi?
Yes, degree is the best moment, one of the best moment.
Time, yes. I mean, during my degree day was the best time of my life. No worries, no income tax, nothing. Yes, I was busy studying, but I had so much of fun, and our worries were very few. So make the best of whatever that you're going through now. Your study days are the best. Trust me. Study days are the best. It may be difficult now, but it will still the best. When you look back, you will wish that you can go back to studying, but you can't. And whatever it is, always safeguard your link, safeguard your relationship with God Almighty. Very, very important. If you safeguard your relationship with God, inshallah, He will make things easy for you, and He will take care of things for you, inshallah. Make a lot of dua.
Inshallah.
Make a lot of dua.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam Hafsah. for the
welcome.
tips and last word. And thank you so much for Brother Hakimi.
Thank you
for
for
the-
inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, dear audiences, we have finally come to the end of the session, and don't forget to fill in the attendance and feedback form in the chat box. So I, once again, on behalf of the organizer, would like to offer my sincerest gratitude to the two panelists, Brother Hakimi and Madam Hafsah, for the informative and interesting talk, and not to forget the audiences as well for your participation. So we hope that the session will provide all of you with many benefits and that will leave a long-lasting impression and effects. Before we formally end the forum and before the photography session, let's continue with a video presentation for upcoming project under Office of Islamization and Student Development in collaboration with Presidential Office of IIMC. Maybe we have some sort of technical problem here. I hope all the participants can wait a little bit, and also to all our panelists before we continue with the photography session. Okay, so here is the poster for the upcoming program under IST and Presidential IIM Student Union. So the program name is IIM Sister Stay, and every IIM students are invited to join this program. And if anyone who is interested to join this program, you may scan the QR code provided in this poster. So we will give it up to maybe 1 minute for all of you to scan the QR code to join the WhatsApp group and to get more information regarding the program of IIUM Sister Stay, inshallah. So I hope everyone here, every participant here can scan the QR code to join this program. So yeah, I think that's the end of our session for tonight. Before we end, let's have a photography session with our panelists. So I hope everyone can open your camera for this session, and the technical team can capture our picture. So yeah, I leave to the technical team.
All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I hope all of you can open your camera. So you guys can hear my voice, right?
Yes.
All right, Alhamdulillah. So is there anyone who want to open your camera?